So two things that are important for a shell is the body, and then if your body is, of course, a mind, well, then you don't have to mind your body if you have a shell. One thing that's important is that I just got done walking by a place where I would go on July 4th, and it would be almost like a mortar contest where a whole bunch of explosions would be happening, and it was great because I felt the propagation of the explosion while seeing the light illuminate off of it and in the sky. And when it's in the sky off of it, I could feel the propagation from either. And it was really great because I could do that on that day. The day came last year and the year before where I'd find myself on that same date in the same location, even at the same time, and I would go ahead and find myself alone because of a lockdown occurring, a cancel culture. The cancel culture of the holiday in July 4th didn't happen because of an outbreak. And you're not really supposed to talk about it because the people who have a lot of money on platforms, they use boards to hurt bodies. And if your body's ever been hurt by a board, it's very controversial. So I'm gonna leave it there and just mention the shell is a down society. And so if you have a cancel culture in a down society, that's as though if a honeybee is doing whatever it does, as busy as a working bee, busy as a bee could be, inside of the hive, doing his thing, probably making honey or making a larva. And then hunter-gatherer. And then you have the body of the rest of the bees moving and doing their dance, which is achieving a hive mind. And so if you have a cancel culture in a down society, the board will be hitting bodies everywhere and you won't really know because you can't even mention. So I just thought to mention that that is a perfect formula for one day for no reason. Finding out that you're surrounded by robots or aliens. Much to your dismay, you would be an ugly duckling even though you thought it was normal to not be an alien or a robot just because you've been fed something that you didn't know you were eating, but since you bought into it, which is not knowing any better, you actually got sold out. How you introduce yourself, you walk up to say, and this is the shell where it's utilized in a differentiation where it can give birth to things that shouldn't even occur. And so when I've got an open case because I'm helping my friend, and then we've got dummy variables such as text asking questions like they're a TSA, but I'm not in an airport, I just have a phone type of thing. That it's obvious that there's circumstances, but those circumstances by no means should be ratifying and excavating. I'm just sitting and I'm having a hard time doing that just because I'm getting ate. And the amount of mosquitoes I think feed off each other. Once you've been bitten, they can smell the antihistamines and it attracts them. That's how they read. Bumblebees are able to do that by dancing and body language. The antihistamine mosquitoes swarm them like a hobo on a ham sandwich. Now I'm actually in the shade right now because I'm eliminating being burnt and ate at the same time, which I think that those would daisy chain and actually work in favor of the hunter. And right now I'm being gathered by being ate by mosquitoes as I'm getting text, who is this? And I don't have any friends. I was gonna call my cop friend over to have a word with him, but I think he's fleeing the scene because he doesn't want to be seen with me. And so if you're playing the game, it's not even a game, the merry-go-round, if you're on that, and then you were told, well, you have to put blindfold on in order to get onto the merry-go. And this guy who's telling you it that's not even his merry-go-round. It's just in a public park. But you see a line in front of you, so you say, you know what, okay, I'm gonna put on my blindfold. So you're happy because he gives you a cloth, and you're like, well, okay, this is mine. Okay, I'll put it on. And so you wait in line with your blindfold on to get onto the merry-go. And then all of a sudden, he says, okay, it's your turn, step forward, and you step forward. And once you sit down, you actually just sit down on the ground, and then he says, okay, hold on tight. And so you're reaching around for something to hold on to, and then all of a sudden he just like starts kicking dirt at your face. And, I'm trying to be like utmost like respect because I'm not like a dirty guy. So I don't talk about like swear words and then the birds and the bees and then other things that are regarded in that allocation. Kind of hard to explain if that's being like made inside packages and handed to people. The downside of the birds and the bees. So I'm trying to get out is that there's erectors and there's eradicators. Some things that you don't mention, people can say, well, that goes without saying. And that's how you can either achieve a peripheral of a hive where you engage in knowing its mind, or you use it to be corrupt. One thing that is daunting is that an exoskeleton shed is not alive. But you could say it's alive with the leftover cells that... And knowing a mind, I think this all traces back to when the science was in search of the God particle, and this was the Higgs boson, if you don't remember. Peter Higgs would go ahead and invest X amount of money to make a large hadron collider in Geneva, Switzerland. When they went ahead and made that, they had a giant celebration with all these scientists because they believed that they achieved finding the Higgs boson. All the newspapers would rally that they have achieved finding the God particle, and then it got dark and no one really heard too much. Well, they've been smashing things since then. I believe the laureates were gifted a Nobel either for dark energy. I think that led to the discovery of measuring the dark energy, and if that came before or after it. In either case, those are the only two scenarios of what has been achieved in the last like 50 years that anyone actually thought would be something worth putting in a newspaper off of science. Two side categories are important of stem cell research was pretty prominent. That had some weight behind it, and what soonly evolved after that study was gene editing, where it's no surprise if you were to make a stem cell, you're gonna want to gene edit to fasten its latches and batten down the hatches. Or why would you want to fasten latches to batten down the hatches of a stem cell with a gene editing? A CRISPR machine has accomplished the feats of making feet. It could make several things, including organs. And much like a 3D printer, it'll line up a dial and you can dial it in off the line. And lo and behold, the test tube babies have got a brand new adapter to allocate with whatever Planned Parenthood ships them. And if you don't know if Planned Parenthood would be shipping anything, you're gonna have to ask Bill Gates what happens after, and you can just leave it at that. That's a dirty byproduct of that BS is affecting me when I'm not even part of it. And it's so lucrative that it's commonplace. There's been fiber optic cables launched up and put out across the areas that are not smart cities, and companies all have their hats in the ring. You need to know how important the ultraviolet light discovery is. The ultraviolet light discovery is very much induced by a certain frequency that meets a threshold. More and more I've seen QR codes pop up here and there, some even on the ground. And I'm here to ask, what is so different from with my body that you're looking for and compared to a QR code? And can we get this by using ultraviolet light? And I'd ask that flat out, dead serious, straight in their face. That's my third option. And I'd like to understand if I can entertain what you're looking for to help you, shoes on or off. Let's get to the bottom of it.